Legend tales of a place where the booze flows freely and the stories are always entertaining. If you are bold enough to seek out such a place, head 13 miles down the Tuscan Highway to a tiny blues joint known as the Townsmith Tavern. Once there, enjoy the ride. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and Bowl.
Excuse me, you can't say that. You're gonna lose your family-friendly rating. You're gonna corrupt the kids.
BS! A podcast that invites you to grab a cold beverage, pull up a seat, and enjoy time with friends. And here are your hosts, Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast that is as silky smooth as James Spader's voice. I'm your host, Howard Blues, here, as always, with my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Kidder, how you doing tonight?
As silky as a buzzsaw. Here we are, Friday night, another show ready to go. I'm okay. Why am I just okay? We'll dive into that. Dive into it, maybe drown in it. We're not sure, but we'll figure that out over the next 2 or so hours of this here show that we call Beer, Blues, and BS. That's the short answer for you, Howie Blues. How are you doing this fine Friday evening?
Well, Kidder, I'm excited as always to be here. It's been a week. Man, I feel like I haven't said that catchphrase in a while. It
feels like you're hiding something.
Well, Kidder, I think you noticed that. I've been doing some editing, and I know he was just here last week. It was mostly just for a joke against the gentleman from Indiana, but we had some penalties in last week's episode.
Surprising that shirt's not all tattered up with how much use it's had over the past 6 months.
Well, actually there was a very long stretch where Howard the Ref was not on the show. Like, he had his heyday for a little bit, and then it was gone for quite a while. So, yes, Kidder, we had 2 penalties on last week's episode. The first penalty, it's a very simple 2-minute minor for, basically bad manners. Yeah. You never asked me how I was doing last week, Kidder. It hurt.
Okay.
The other
2 minutes of BS have been assessed. Continue.
Yes. The other penalty, Kidder, was a little bit more egregious. I have to give us a 2-minute bench penalty for too many plugs in the episode. In fact, in the first 30 minutes, Kidder, there were not 1, not 2, not 3, but 7 cheap plugs. I know, because I counted. So, yeah.
But how many were there at the end compared to the normal episode?
See, and I haven't even finished the episode. That's in the first 30. I haven't gotten to the cheap plug section, and I'm almost guaranteed that there's a couple more before I get there. I have edited some out, but we also were kind of annoying at times where we referenced the fact that this has been a lot of cheap plugs and made jokes off of it, so I had to leave them in. So,
as you should.
So for you, the audience,
Plug
if you're
away.
if you guys are like, hey, you guys are laying on the plugs a little bit heavy, we're sorry, but we made content.
We're only sorry if you don't buy our merch at beerbluesbs.com. Click on merch.
Which, Kidder, I'm glad you bring that up, because I am not going to wear this the whole time. I actually got some merch. Yeah.
Show off that sweet swag.
Yeah, I'm wearing the official National Snow Shoveling League shirt. So, yeah.
You are now part of the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what does the back look like on that stylish piece of artwork that you are now donning this evening?
It's just got the logo on the back, like the show logo. It's okay. If people really want to see it, Kidder, they should go to beerbluesbs.com, click on the merch button, and there they could see it in its glory, along with all of the other wonderful designs that we have up there.
And you call me cheap plug master.
Hey, at least I'm also supporting the product. So
it's very true. Very true. Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
We have spent a lot of time making that merch look as awesome as possible. So, again, like Howie Blues just said, beerbluesbs.com, click on merch.
I haven't washed my pint glass yet, Kidder. Otherwise, I would use that tonight, but hadn't got to that quite yet. So, future episodes, keep an watch. There'll be some more merch shown off at times.
Absolutely, because that's what we do here on the Triple B. Promote ourselves.
But I do have a funny story for you, Kidder. I just thought I would share because I got a laugh out of it today. Today, Lefty and Junior came and visited me at work, and which they do on occasion. And they were there. We went up to the tree house up in the Heritage Center. Junior played around there. We went down to the Inspiration Gallery. He drove the tractor. He did pretty well with that. So it was good. It was very good. But as we were going to leave, one of his other favorite sections in there is there's a little soda shop exhibit and mock-up. And we started walking towards. He got really excited. He ran in there, and he decided, I'm going to run behind the counter because I can. And he's looking at everything. And, Kidder, you can't get behind the counter. There's a lovely clear glass partition there. So poor Howie Jr. went bonk right into it, fell over. We had some good tears. It was one of those things, like, as a parent, you sometimes have these moments where you don't want to laugh, but you just can't help it. It was just so funny. But at the same time, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, buddy. That probably scared you quite a bit. But it was funny.
So it's an NDWF classic of, are you clearly bleeding or bleeding clearly?
It's more like he ran into the Mime's invisible box.
Busted wide open.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't start crying right away, so it was kind of funny because it's like he hit it knocked him over, and he just kind of looked up at Lefty and I, and it's that look of like, what the hell just hit me? It was, again, he couldn't help but laugh. And he was mostly scared. He wasn't injured. It was just, as I said, if you feel like, hey, this is all clear, I can just walk through here, and you don't understand the concept of clear glass, I can understand that being scary.
Things to keep you down, a combination of life and gravity. Welcome to the world, Howie Jr.
A philosophical
Yes.
Kidder in the house tonight.
Yes, a little bit. I put on the All-Star Jersey, and then I have all knowledge. It's just...
Either that or you have like a fortune cookie generator up.
That would be a good idea. Maybe for next week. But I'd have to remember between now and then. So we'll see what happens next week. Join us for the next episode of Beer, Blues, and BS. So, obviously, this is our favorite part of the show because it's our chance to begin drinking. It is the What's on Tap? And I have to call out some shenanigans from Lane. Now, Lane gave the teaser, hey, I got some stuff to bring in. I'm going to give you guys some beer. Great. That would be awesome. Thanks, Lane. I might mention that this was on Monday. Do you see me with beers here? No. Because Lane kept teasing all week. I gotta bring in some beers for you guys. You guys are gonna love. No, wait, this is a double IPA. You're gonna hate it. But it's content for the show, Lane. Did Lane bring these aforementioned beers in? Will Lane continue to tease us with the thought of more beverages provided for us and getting a sponsorship on the buy us a beer portion of the What's on Tap? These are questions that we'll find out next week on Beer, Blues, and BS. So this week, we just have to delve into the fridge and find out what's next on tap. Howie Blues, what say you on this news?
Just that I'm highly disappointed in Lane. To be honest, that's a gentleman from Indiana sort of move. To which
that's very true. They don't even know each other, so I'm surprised that he'd stoop that low.
Yeah, but I do need to say congratulations to the gentleman from Indiana. It is his 10-year anniversary.
10.
Mm-hmm. I was in that wedding, Kidder. That was a good wedding. Actually, it was a weird wedding. And I don't know how much I should say on it.
Public record, yes.
Well, public record, and I don't wish to make fun of someone's religion. Let me put it this way. Two things. One, it quickly got out about and Kidder, you know the story, and I'm not going to go into it because it's a story we should wait for one day when the gentleman from Indiana is actually on the show to tell it.
He has to be on the show first.
I know. So people, if you want to know more about this story, but Kidder, it quickly got out that I was one of the members of the infamous mail truck stealing incident. So his parents weren't real thrilled with me. And if you want to know more, hey, start letting people know. We need that gentleman from Indiana on here so I can tell that story. So that was one. The second thing, Kidder,
petition on change.org. Gentleman from Indiana to be on Beer, Blues, and BS.
We'll just start maybe like a hashtag or something. We'll figure it out. We'll talk marketing strategy. The other thing, Kidder, that was big on that whole wedding thing was at the reception. They allowed anybody who wanted to make a speech, and the speeches all kind of went the same because it was mostly the bride's family, like immediate family, and like they were almost all carbon copy of, well, I never thought that she would be the type to fall in love. But 3 days ago, when I met the gentleman from Indiana, I could understand why they fell in love. I was so tempted, Kidder, to get up and give that same speech at that wedding, but I didn't think it would go over well. I was already in hot water because of the mail trucks. But I was tempted to get up and do the whole, I didn't think she was the type to fall in love. But 3 days ago when I met...
I met the gentleman from Indiana.
And he asked me to be at his wedding. That was kind of weird, but I'm here, It would have been good.
How did you get my number?
Yeah.
Is this one of those blind calls to see what'll happen? Are you Bud Light? Are you trying to sponsor me and see who's up for whatever? We could make that happen.
I think it was more of like he didn't have enough friends to match in the wedding party. So, it's like, hey, I need a seat filler. That's
great.
More of it.
Get those butts in seats, or in this case, in the stands.
But disappointing to hear that Lane is being a bit of a tease on that. I'm sure our revenge and retaliation will be swift and sound. We'll talk after the episode, and we'll plot.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. It'll be fine.
So, Kidder,
and we'll see in the next 2 weeks if he brings us some beverages.
Mm-hmm.
But your question.
I was just going to say, what are you drinking over there tonight? What is Kidder pulling from the fridge?
I was going to see what you had first, because it seems that I've been going first lately more than you have. And so I would like you to go first as the gentlemanly move, unlike the gentleman from Indiana. You should go first this evening. Share what's on tap. What did you pull out of the Howard Cave of Wonder this evening for your delightful, tasty, hopefully, beverage?
Well, Kidder, I'm still working through those seasonal beers.
Yes.
I only got like 3 of them left. I think.
'Tis the season.
And this one comes from a all-time great brewery, one that we love having on the show. It's the Wasatch Brewery. You might remember it from such classics on this episode or on this show as the Pumpkin Ale or Black O-Lantern or whatever that blueberry crap was that Kidder drank about a month or so ago. But yes, this is their seasonal. It's called Snowbank, and it is an amber lager. Let's see, 5% alcohol by volume, 15 IBUs. They say it tastes like it is crisp, malty, clean. When the snow starts to pile up, it's time to reach for the delicious malty notes of Snowbank Amber Lager. A smooth malt backbone is balanced with heaps of hops for a crisp, clean refresher. Let it snow. These guys are again out of Salt Lake City, Utah, established in 1986. Yeah, their slogan, we drink our share and sell the rest. And yes, I think that is all the information on the can. We will give it a whiff. Not an expensive smell. It smells kind of like a Bud Light. If I was to give that. For the audience, if you're wondering why Kidder's not interacting right now, he's chasing his cats around his room. So he can't hear any of this. But yeah. It's like a really malty, like Bud Light, Kidder.
I like how you're chewing through it. You're like,
well, it's got, once you get through the malty Bud Light kind of taste of it, it's got a very, feels like you're just like chewing on raw grain at the end. It's kind of sticks with you in a not so great way.
I wonder if I would like it. I thought I had one of those in my fridge, but unfortunately I do not. So I cannot drink that with you.
You might like it. I'd probably rate it a like 2. So it's not terrible. Maybe 2 is a little harsh. Maybe I'd go a 2.5. You know, a little closer to average, a little below average. I'll get through it. Nothing super special. I'll put it that way.
Fair enough. That's all right. It's not a crushable lager like Breckenridge Brewing's Mountain Time, a proud sponsor of your Colorado Avalanche.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice, Kidder, we had a bit of confusion, you and I, about the official sponsor? Because last season, the official beer was Avalanche. This year, it's Mountain Time. There was a little confusion a couple episodes back because I was talking about last year's. You were talking about this year's.
We just like good beer.
I don't know. Sometimes I think the shows are better when it's bad beer.
Yeah, I mean, one of our all-time classics, if you have not seen it yet, is the show from 3 weeks ago now with the trifecta of troubled beers. Yeah. You should see that. And again, extending the disappointment because a certain Lane started watching it, saw my reaction, and then hesitated to try that first beer. He has all three, and he wasn't going to sit down and watch all three of them, and watch all the episode and then drink all three of them. He wanted to save the others for later. That's why we are the true broadcast professionals, because we went the gauntlet with all three of those terrible beers. We drank all three of them 100%, and we finished the episode probably stronger than we started it. So damn it, just shows our professionalism on this show and what we go through for you, our devout fans. So thank you.
Yeah, two things to that, Kidder. First, there was a call out in the comments section of that particular episode. Everybody's favorite local geek actually is making a call for Lane's ratings on that trifecta of beers.
Wow.
So there's a call out there. The second thing is, Lane, I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah.
This is just not a great episode for you, man.
No.
You better step it up next week.
Sliding.
I know.
At least you have that that thick Bud Light over there. So I'm happy for you. Wish you'd make louder noise, because he's just sitting there chewing after he took a drink. All right. Well, while you chew through the rest of your cud, I, after seeing your beverage, I did rifle through my Triple B fridge and found a Wasatch Brewery companion myself. That's right, the Devastator! And I don't know if Howard has had this one yet, but we'll see if he has. So, and I don't know if I'm really going to like this or not. We'll see, because it is a double Bock lager and 8% alcohol in this 12 full ounce can. On top of it, it is an 18 IBU beverage. Now, according to the back of this, it says it tastes like plum, malt, and rich. I don't know what rich tastes like, but if it tastes like money, I don't know what that tastes like either, because, yeah, don't have enough to eat. So, what it says on the back here is, if you're going to sin big. Our double Bock is sweet, toasty, and rich, but finishes gentle. This beer has developed a serious cult following. Imagine that, a cult following in Utah. I think they're throwing some shade there at some people who like following comets. Again, as Howard said, we drink our share and sell the rest. Established in 1986, Wasatch Brewery from Salt Lake City, Utah. And on the bottom it says, 12 fluid ounces of beer, period. Yeah, how about that? So again, Howard, as you can see, because I was reading off of it, yes, it has plum, malt, and rich for the tasting notes on this. Again, I don't know what rich tastes like, but whatever. The one positive note on it, if you look on the side of the can, if it actually focuses, it is a Ball Corporation can. Of course, proud sponsor of your Colorado Avalanche. So let's see what rich tastes like. I don't know why it would, but it kind of smells like rubbing alcohol. No. Oh, now there's the toasty notes of like burnt. All right, here we go. That's thick. That's dark. Not tasting the plum, but and the beer on the rim doesn't look that dark either. It looks like a golden ale, probably about like the same that you have. So maybe they're putting almost the same beer. Like maybe this is the first run, and then the stuff you have is the second run. Like when they wash out all of the brewing containers and whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah, I still just have not found a beer by these guys that I'm like, yes, amazing.
Yeah, I'm not really wowed by it. I don't really taste the plum, which honestly is fine. But it just, I don't know. When it says a double Bock, I'm like, okay, maybe, just maybe, it'll be like a thick Shiner Bock. You know, a true Bock, but thicker. No, it's kind of weak. So it is not devastating me. Whatever. I'll get through it.
Man, some mild. This has been like a disappointing what's on tap. Disappointing beer. Disappointing lane. Man,
giant letdown this week.
Which is a great transition into wrestling.
Yeah,
because there was some disappointment.
And if, of course, you haven't seen it yet, you can visit our special recap and review episode of the WWE Royal Rumble 2022, the 35th anniversary edition of the Royal Rumble. Yeah, it was pretty weak in a lot of spots compared to what I would like to see it as. But as we talked about, some of the secret entrance. It wasn't really a secret, but it kind of was. Shane McMahon entering the Royal Rumble. Your thoughts on Shane being in the Rumble? I mean, is it kind of like it's still a necessity almost? Like you expect Shane to be there every year? What do you feel there? How he lose?
Well, I don't expect him to be there every year. Because he's not with the company. It's not like when he's not there, he's in the front office doing business and such. He is not really a part of WWE for the most part. And he kind of comes back around this time each year to kind of be a big name that they can attach to like WrestleMania. He's not one of my favorite wrestlers. He's got some punches that look pretty terrible. Yeah. So, but yeah, it sounds like there was quite the kerfuffle with this year's Rumble, and a lot of things being changed, plans being changed, stuff being rewritten. And that might have been, I was listening to some commentary earlier tonight, Kidder, because I knew we were going to talk about this. And they were talking about how some of these changes are part of what made the Rumble boring. The fact that there were no big old legend surprise entrants kind of affected people. But also just kind of even the order that people came out in, you kind of, like, especially I think they put it once Lesnar got in the match, you knew who was winning it. And it just kind of took away any of the drama. There were people in there that you didn't sit there and go, well, I think they're going to win. And of course, there's always a couple of people in there that you're like, well, they're not going to win. They just need a body. But yeah, there was a lot of nobody who's going to win it in that match. So
apparently earlier in the week, which we didn't know when we recorded our review episode. But earlier in the week, it was a 50-50 between Riddle or Randy Orton winning. And the thought was, number one, Matt Riddle winning it because he's a hot new talent. But then the other thought was Randy Orton should win it because then he would be a 3-time Royal Rumble winner, which currently Stone Cold is the only 3-time Royal Rumble winner. On top of that, the interesting thing with Shane O'Mac, he does not have any stock in the company anymore. Sold it all, gave it all, whatever the case was. He doesn't have any more stock in WWE, so he's not an owner of the company. He's not an executive in the company, and he was just brought in as a superstar with the standard superstar. You are on contract with the company. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, more than a superstar, because he did have some booking involvement in the match, which it's not the first Rumble that he's booked or been a part of the booking. So he was a part of this, which after the Rumble, there was some rumors, and it seems fairly true that some of his decisions kind of earned him some heat, and that he is now once again gone from the company and won't be continuing, where it sounds like there's some rumors that the plans were originally for him to go to Mania and face Seth Rollins, is the rumor. Mm-hmm. Take it for what you will. I mean, this is the WWE. Some of this stuff gets rewritten up until
right before it happens. Yep.
Yeah. So take that with a grain of salt, but that was part of it, was what was supposedly going to happen. There was another rumor that he was going to challenge Lashley, which that doesn't make much sense either. But yeah, it's one of those where, as I said, I don't mind Shane O'Mac, but at the same time, he's not the biggest nostalgia pop for me when he's in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Apparently, he was involved with trying to write the Rumble as it was happening, and then he and Vince were arguing about how to do it, and then Lesnar was involved, and some other people are saying Paul Heyman was also involved and trying to get these different spots, and not only the order of them, but on top of it, who would have a bigger push in the Rumble and potentially have a better, win opportunity. So super bizarre. Bizarre. I mean, for the audience, if you don't follow wrestling and you're still listening at this point, good on you. Plainism.
Yeah. But just an example, just how weird this was. Even if you weren't going to have Orton win it, you had him come out, I forget, but he was like 27, 28, 29. Like, he was one of the last guys in. The guy is from St. Louis. I think somebody said that he got the second biggest pop of the night. And you hardly used him. He was hardly there. And if you're not going to have him win, why not get him out sooner and make the audience feel better about him being in the Rumble longer and have a good showing, even if he doesn't win it. There's that, because when he comes out that late and then he's not in there that long, it's just nobody's real happy about it.
Yeah.
So, but just an example of just how screwy this Rumble was.
Yep. And then the fallout from the Rumble, of course, the finale with Lesnar winning the Royal Rumble match and being in the Elimination Chamber. He is saying that he will win Elimination Chamber regain the WWE Championship, and then still go on to WrestleMania and have it be title versus title, where he would, do his best to win and then be a two-time, more than two-time Universal Champion, but a two-belt champion at once. So, don't think it's going to win. Don't think it's going to happen.
It's interesting, Kidder. Again, some of the commentary I was listening to tonight as I was cooking dinner and such, they were talking about this, and apparently Reigns and Lesnar want their WrestleMania match to be title versus title. And they, especially after Brock got the title at day one, they wanted it to be title versus title. Management said no. And that's why they stripped the belt from they had Lesnar lose to Lashley. But there is talk that they might now go back to title versus title. And the gentleman I was listening to, we're actually having a bit of a debate of, if they do that, do they keep it as two titles, or do they finally consolidate and we end the brand split and we go back to one roster united?
That would be much better, in my opinion, because having two top tier belts like that, I've always felt the WWE title was a more prestigious title in WWE than the previous World Heavyweight title, and of course now the Universal title. And honestly, with the colored belt like it is, I think it's kind of a joke. So, I'm the champion of the universe. No, shut up. I know it's the WWE universe, but it's still not as good as the WWE title. And I think paring that down, getting rid of it, and having one main champion, especially with how few people they have who are championship material, would be a lot better. But what are you going to do?
And it would get rid of the whole ridiculousness of, all this talent has showed up on, SmackDown, but there's a Raw star. How could this be? And having to come up with some loophole for that. You could make it one roster, and you could still have stars who predominantly appear on one show or another. That's what they do in AEW. There are stars who you're most likely going to see on Rampage versus Dynamite, and that's okay to divide the talent that way. And you can still see people slide up and down and be in different spots on there. It's not a big deal. So there's some of that was it was an interesting debate to listen to, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. But speaking of the shrinking title or roster, Kidder, because I know you and I have covered the whole WWE purge and the shrinking of the roster. Did you see WWE's 2021 revenue number came out?
Yeah, it was like $1.21 billion. Right. Something like that.
Right. So they made over $1 billion.
The most profit revenue they have ever made in their history.
Right. And the majority of the reasons we saw for personnel cuts this last year was all budget reasons. And I'm sure part of that revenue going up is, yes, if you shrink your roster and you have less salary, that means you have less expenses and therefore you have more profit and a greater revenue. So, yes, I get that aspect of it. But it feels really kind of weird to be saying, well, we terminated, I forget where we lost count at, somewhere in like 80, 90 people to make $1 billion. Yeah, it's that was an interesting one that when I saw that number was like, whoa.
Yep. They made the most money in the history of their company, and they're still cutting people and still making a ton of money off of the Peacock subscribers, which obviously I am, because we have to watch the the live premium events, because they're premium. They're live and they're events. Will you remember them? Probably not, but that's why we're here to recap them for you. So then you remember what happened not even a week ago. The other, I guess, final piece I want to mention on the road to WrestleMania is Goldberg is back tonight. And yes, he will be appearing at Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia. So we have another 3 weeks of Goldberg, at least, potentially through WrestleMania.
So it's been an interesting week of WWE news. Let's maybe switch over to AEW for a little bit.
Apparently, Brian Kendrick, the Brian Kendrick, who is not as cool or interesting as the Mark Kidder, let me tell you, apparently believed in a bunch of conspiracy theories. Now, what are these conspiracy theories? I don't want to share them because I don't want to be on record sharing these conspiracy theories because they were bad enough to get Brian Kendrick pretty much let go from WWE. And then not 2 hours later, after his WWE release, he's going to appear on AEW. Very excited. And then within an hour or two after that, Tony Khan found out about Brian Kendrick's conspiracy theories that he had shared on the interwebs. And they canceled his AEW appearance and would not be appearing on AEW because AEW does not support these conspiracy theories, nor think they have a place for them within the AEW universe. So I'm not going to share them, talk about them, but Future Howard has a couple pictures to show from the screenshots from Brian Kendrick's tweets there.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the way to put it, for the audio listeners, if you don't, if you are familiar with Alex Jones and his crazy theories and such, they're along those same lines, if not some of the same. So to give you, for those of you who are up on your crazy people with radio shows, conspiracy theories, there you go. Yeah. I don't know that we need to say any real more on that, Kidder. I did hear about a particular match that happened on Dynamite, which might also explain why they're wearing black.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a decent match. MJF and CM Punk in Chicago. And I think they booked it this way because then, of course, MJF can have a lot of extra heat because now he can say that he beat CM Punk twice in his hometown. Yeah. The first time MJF put CM Punk into a sleeper but had applied some wrapped up tape, so he was essentially strangling CM Punk. And then the CM Punk dipped and the official counted it as a win and then saw the piece of tape fall out and then insisted that the match restart or continue. So then they continued. And then with some outside interference from Wardlow handing the diamond ring to MJF, with the ref turned and Wardlow is the distraction. MJF then punched CM Punk, knocked him out, and got the 1-2-3 pin. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting to see
first
where they
loss.
Go. Yeah, first loss, as you were saying. It'll be interesting to see where they go with this. Some of what I was hearing, the speculation is that we're going to get at the pay-per-view will probably be CM Punk versus Wardlow and MJF getting a shot at the champion, Adam Hangman Page. So if that's the direction they're going, then it makes sense. You want to keep building MJF so that you're building your match between him and Hangman Page. Totally get that. And I think you'll still get I think hopefully Punk will get his revenge somewhere down the line. But I think everybody kind of knew that at some point Punk was going to have a loss. So it was going to happen.
And what better way to get extra cheap heat than to beat a huge person in their hometown? So I get it, but still, yes. So on we go. How about some food talk? You like food, don't you?
Well, yeah. Or
do you have more wrestling to talk about? You're chewing on your beer again, and
that was the joke I was going for right there. Yep, until the leg kind of killed that joke. Yeah. Yeah, Kidder, I got some interesting photos from you, and you said, boy, do I have a lot to talk about. Kidder, it looks like you were experimenting with some fast food culinary action, if I do describe it that way. So, Kidder, what exactly were you doing? And how much liquor did you consume to make this happen?
None of them.
Oh.
Zero alcohol was involved with this. In fact, it is the reason that I did this aforementioned action is because McDonald's is advertising it right now. Apparently, it used to be just a secret part of the menu, and by secret part of the menu, you just had to know to order a couple of these things together, and then you could put the bigger sandwich together yourself. So the first one is the menu hack picture itself, what McDonald's calls their menu hacks. And they have 3 of them that they're advertising right now. First is the Surf Plus Turf. It's only 830 calories and is in the Bismarck market anyway, $7.19. The second one is the Crunchy Double, which is 700 calories and is a cool $6.39 in the Bismarck market. And then the grand sandwich of them all, the Land, Air, and Sea, only 1,330 calories and $11.19 for this bad boy. Yes. So the first one, as we talk about the Surf Plus Turf, this one is a McDouble and a Filet-O-Fish sandwich. You order those 2, or if you right now, either through the app or at the restaurant, say that you want a Surf and Turf or Surf Plus Turf, you will get the Filet-O-Fish and the McDouble. Again, the $7.19 for just the sandwich. And pulling up the picture, that's the first picture. It's hard to make this picture really appetizing. Okay, it's really hard because obviously in the promotional photos you have this great lighting, you have this great preserved piece of meat, and then of course the chef's building the sandwich for the promotional portion and marketing, you know, that whole thing to make it look good. So of course it looks good in the Surf Plus Turf right at the top, right? Yeah, that, you know, it looks good. So you put it together. That one, okay. Would I get it again? No. Moving on to the second on the list, the Crunchy Double. I should order should mention that between the 2 of us, we ordered the 3 of them, so then we could essentially sample the different flavors of each of them, and then not suddenly develop diabetes overnight. So the second sandwich on here is the Crunchy Double with 700 calories and again $6.39. This one is a McDouble and a 6-piece chicken nuggets. Now this one is simple and is good. So you pull or basically flip the burger over, and then you can put the nuggets on the bottom bun. You get your sauce of choice, which they advertise it as the tangy barbecue sauce. Pour that onto your chicken nuggets. Put the McDouble back on there, and you are good to go. This one was enjoyable, and I would get it again. The reason is because you have your tasty hamburger like you normally like your McDouble, but then you have the crunchy notes underneath of the chicken. So very tasty. Nice crunchy, tasty, the tanginess of the barbecue sauce. So that was a nice mix. So I would get that one again. The third one, man, the land, air, and sea, that was something, because you have 3 full-size sandwiches. I shouldn't say full-size, 2 full-size sandwiches, and then, the value menu sandwich, McChicken. So you pull those apart, you put the chicken on top of the hamburger on the top, because it's a Big Mac, and you drop the lettuce, mayo, and the McDonald's special sauce and the lettuce there on the top. Then you put your middle bun, and then you pull that one off, and you put the Filet-O-Fish there, and then it's the second patty for the burger of your Big Mac, and then, of course, your bottom bun. This sumbitch was this thick. And of course, looking in the picture, you can see all of it in its glory. And then you have the close-up video of me taking a bite out of the damn thing and trying to eat the damn thing. I made it through all of it. Later that night, I was full. I was kind of in pain because I was in full. It was one of those, oh, that was a lot. Because I'm sure I ate over 2,000 calories in that meal by itself. I wouldn't doubt it. Well, I mean, if I did the math between the 2 damn sandwiches there, because I had the last 2. So, yeah, I had over 2,000 calories with just the 2 sandwiches alone. And then, of course, on top of that, had a Sprite, because you really can't go without a Filet-O-Fish and a small Sprite. And that's a throwback joke for those of you who know where that is. And yeah, that was a meal, and the fries. So what my suggestion is, and of course I want it all because of this show, being able to share it with all of you and having that content. What I would suggest is, if you like or think you would like any of those 3, go enjoy, but order a small meal and just get that, because that will probably be well more than enough than what you would want for a whole meal. So yes, the McDonald's menu hacks are here. How long? I don't know. Go try them out. And then go take a walk on a treadmill for about 3 days. Devastator. That's done.
Yeah, I finished the snowbank while you were talking, so we're done with those beers, thankfully, I believe.
Well, now that we're at this point in the show, the question to you, Howard, what's on tap 2?
Oh, you mean I have to have a second one?
You don't have to.
Oh, well, that's okay. I have this Laughing Sun I Heart ND Golden Ale
Good choice.
Just happened to be sitting here. So how convenient. I don't really need to do much review on this show. Kidder has had it on the show many, many, many times. In fact, actually, Kidder's the one who gave me this one. It has been in my fridge since he has, and it just keeps getting pushed back to all of these other beers, seasonals that I've been trying. So finally, I'm breaking it out, giving it the old taste and such. So, but yeah, brewed right here in Bismarck, North Dakota. Give it a shot. That's not bad. It's not bad. I like it better than the Snowbank. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, the I Heart ND beer is actually something that you would like to stumble across instead of a Snowbank.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I have to clear out the rest of that Devastator because it's devastating the rest of my taste buds. If that didn't finish me off, well, this certainly will. I'm going to pull out, and I'm pretty sure that I've had this on the show. If not on the show, it was again consumed in Des Moines. Another of the New Belgium products that is from that sampler pack with the quality Mountain Time New Belgium beer. Howard's got a lot of thumb action going on, I think, and he's pointing. You can't see it. He's like thumb finger pistols. So this one is a tropical wheat, is what it says it is, and it is hard to read this because look at this. It's all shiny. So with all these fancy studio lights that we have, as in all two of them, it's a little difficult to read because the glare on this is terrible. Yeah, well, we're just past the due date on this beer, so that'll help out. New Belgium Brewing Company from Fort Collins, Colorado, and Asheville, North Carolina. This Summer Bliss is a wheat beer with mango, spice, and natural flavors. Snap your sips using Summer Bliss stickers on IG stories, #OMG. This is a 5.5% alcohol per volume, and yes, it is 12 full ounces of beer, and this is not aluminum from the Ball Corporation. So let's go ahead and open this and see if we can bring some summer our way. Don't you agree, Howard Blues? Are you just a little blue?
Just a little bit. But if I was green, I would die.
Yeah, it's good. Good that we're not green. So the smell on this is you get a hint of mango, but then you get a little bit of the malt smell to it. So if you're going for the aroma, yeah, maybe not. So here we go. New Belgium. Cheers to you. You would not like this, Howard. That mango is right there. It's like, I don't want to say mango puree because the liquid is not that thick, but it has the same taste of if you were eating dried mangoes, or if I'm guessing you ate mango puree, and then a little hint of, the malt. So the wheat, if you will. All right. There's that. That I'm either going to finish it quickly or it'll get me through the rest of the show. We'll have to see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what else is new?
Well, Kidder, I was going to talk about a new product that I stumbled upon. No, I'm not going to talk about the stack of the second wave of Solomon Kane that arrived and is perched there on my Tiki Guy, which, I don't know if you noticed, the Tiki Guy finally made it down to the basement. So
it's about damn time.
Yeah, he's been out in my garage. He's finally back in the cave. So excited to have him back. But no, Kidder, as you know, every now and then Amazon gives me a very interesting suggestion for a product it thinks I need. And boy, Kidder, did it give me an interesting one tonight. It's not quite as good as the toilet turtle, but it was just weird enough that I'm like, yep, we got to share this on the show. So, Kidder, you know how some people feel the need to, dress their pets up in, sweaters, costumes, things like that.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're a pet owner. Have you ever dressed your cat up, Kidder?
Not a costume. The closest that we have ever done is put a bow tie on Orion, and it's just a Velcro thing, so it's a bow tie. He looks very handsome, very dapper, very respectable. And of course, the bow tie, it's somewhat Doctor Who related because bow ties are cool. And then the other is for Freya would be just a little peony flower, like neck stretchy necklace, I guess you could call it, for a pet. It's got a little jingle ball on it. So it's not dressing them up. And no, I don't feel the need to buy a costume and dress them up, put them through it. I don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? But I'm guessing that you, since you brought this up, you found some quality costume. Is this a suggestion or something that you're going to do to one of your dad's dogs?
No, I would not do this to one of my dad's dogs. No, this was something that Amazon, as I said, suggested to me. But Kidder, let's face it, you've done some cosplay before with the old Star Trek convention.
Absolutely.
And I know you always go for authenticity with that.
You know it. Yep.
Right. And for you tend to cosplay as an officer, right? Not necessarily a named character. But let's say that you wanted your pet to cosplay with you. But you know what? Shucks, they just didn't have the right hair. Kidder, Amazon's got you covered because you can buy this product here. That's right. It's a cosplay wig for your pet.
I never knew that a pet needed a wig.
Looking dog.
Oh, there it is. What? That dog looks so damn depressed. Like, get that dog some Zoloft or something. Like, well, I mean, in fact, you know what? I'm going to go to the next step. That dog does not want to cosplay as Karen, okay? Like, that dog, please, take the wig off the dog, put the dog out of its misery, to help it out, and then throw that piece of trash in the garbage. And yes, I'm talking about the wig, not the dog. Although the dog at least would be out of its misery because it'd be in the garbage and it wouldn't have to worry about the wig anymore. The dog would be like, why am I in the garbage now? I don't know where I am.
Kidder, I like how you picked up on the same joke I was going to make, which is, I don't know anybody who wants to cosplay as a Karen. Yeah, you beat me to it, but
I'm sorry. The damn thing just screams, I need to speak to your manager. And then you end up going to a convention, cosplaying as whatever you think that you want to. And then your dog always asks to talk to the chief of security just to make sure everything is safe, and then talk to the event organizers because there aren't enough water bowls around. And then where are the biscuit treats? And then the people are on the stage that you paid to see, and then the damn dog wants to go up and ask them why they're not portraying themselves as the characters in the show, because clearly they're characters in the show. They're not actually people.
Now, the other kind of sad thing about this, Kidder, is that this wig has like a 4-star rating. I don't know if you caught that up in the
I see that
up in the corner up there.
4 out of 5 Karens approve.
Yeah, I feel sorry for that dog. I really do, but I couldn't help but share. Thank you for Amazon for once again giving us content for this show. But Kidder, it's winter time, and when we're not out being part of the National Snow Shoveling League, I know we both like to find some time for some recreation and maybe play some video games. So,
yeah,
Kidder, you been playing any games lately?
I have, and I was just as you were transitioning. And I apologize to stomp on your transition a little bit.
You do it all the time.
I blame it on the lag. Let's just blame it on that. Because you're talking about authenticity. And I didn't want to interrupt the Karen joke because that was just there. But authenticity, this All-Star jersey from the 2019 All-Star series of, yes, your Colorado Avalanche. This is an authentic jersey. So it's not the replica cheap jerseys that you can buy for $80. This is the true actual jersey, just as the players were wearing during that game. And I wanted to mention that these jerseys for this specific year, 2019, are at least on average, apparently, like what they do with Adidas is they collect plastic debris and get recycled plastic products like bottles, for instance, and then they repurpose them somehow and change it into a polyester fiber, and then they put them in the jerseys. The fiber is woven into the jerseys. So these jerseys are supposed to have something like 30 plastic bottles worth of fiber in each jersey. And I was trying to find the exact number because they talk about shoes, and there are about 11 plastic bottles per pair of shoes and feature laces for like the heel linings and sock lining covers. That's recycled material. But the specific jerseys, it doesn't on this specific article have the number of bottles and pieces of plastic that are within the jersey. But I really enjoyed it because the black and the gray coloring and of course the distressed and black and white Avs logo. So sorry, a big side note there. So yes, I don't believe this was in that year's NHL game as a jersey option for your characters, but been playing a little bit of gaming action, including your favorite lawn mowing simulator. Yes, I have been mowing the lawns like a lawn mowing son of a bitch, and not only have I been mowing them, but Rude Boy Kyle keeps mowing them up and shutting them down as well. In fact, the expansion, yes, there is an expansion that's available, and it's different European historical sites, I guess. I haven't actually played one of the sites yet, but one of them is Stonehenge. So we'll be able to mow Stonehenge one of these days. But Rude Boy Kyle brought it to my attention that the expansion was on sale at half off, so it was like $4. So I bought the expansion pack, and so did he. Yes, he is stuck in the lawn mowing thrill, if you will. He's all up into it. He is so excited about lawn mowing. It's unbelievable. Kyle's cutting grass. So yes, He bought the expansion, and he in fact helped me find a little bit of a better way to make some cash in the game. So I have improved and now have 2 employees instead of just one. Can mow another 33% of grass even faster. Put them on the contract and make even more money even quicker. So excited about that. Plus, Kyle shared a meme with me, which I laughed. He sent it to the group. Rude Boy Nico, brother Nico, and Rude Boy Kyle and I are in an Instagram message group. So we share some good stuff, like today. It's 2010. You just got out of school at 3:30. You head home. You sit down. You put on your Turtle Beach headphones. You turn on your Xbox 360. You join a party. You start Modern Warfare 2, and you see this. Yes, you know what MatPat is, don't you, Howie?
Yeah, because it says it right there, but it's terminal.
You see terminal. You get your UMP 45 silence red dot, your marathon, your stopping power, your commando, and you got nothing but time. So that was today. But the other day, yeah, he sends this. And in fact, I got to share it with Howie Blues so then he can put it full screen in all of its screenshotted glory. But yes, you share this with your buddies, and if they don't respond in 1 second, they owe you a Toro Time Cutter SS 4225 45-inch. I'm reading it backwards. 2.25 or 5 point, 22.5. There we go. Horsepower 0-turn mower. And now I laugh because that is almost the identical mower to what I have. Which mine is the SS 4200, lower horsepower, but then Rude Boy Kyle goes, well, at least it's part of the same series. Yeah, I guess. You win there, Rude Boy. So, again, with the lawn mowing in real life and virtually, there's that. In somewhat breaking gaming news, released information earlier today that GTA 6 is officially under active development, and that information was released from Rockstar. So we need Farva on the show again to get his contact to tell, get that insider information of, okay, under active development, does that mean that they just have a title and then they're working on the cover graphics for the the art? Or do they actually have some design underway and gameplay that they're working on? Are you excited for GTA 6? I know you didn't really play GTA 5.
It's one of those things I may or may not get into GTA 6. I really had nothing against GTA 5. I think it was just a matter of, like many times with video games, you and the gents go out, you buy them right away, you play them, you finish them, or you get to a point where you're done with them, you guys move on to the next thing. And me being cheap, frugal, conservative with my money, spending it all on Kickstarters. I mean, use whatever term you like. I tend to wait until games have been out for quite a while and pick them up cheaper. And so it's kind of one of those things that's like, if I picked it up, I'd kind of end up playing it alone.
Which frankly is what I did, because the multiplayer wasn't really ready when I was playing it, and it wasn't what I wanted to play. Like, there was nothing to do in the multiplayer. So sometimes like Kyle and I would have a group, but we'd be playing our individual story missions. You know, we wouldn't actually be playing cooperatively or the multiplayer. We'd just be playing our own game saves and story missions. Unlike Saints Row 3, the two of us played through the entire game in the co-op mode and got all the achievements and as much as we could do in the game until they added more stuff, and then we did what we could. But
And then
they remastered it, and we never played that. And then you got the game. I mean, maybe.
No, I did get it because I remember like you guys hopped in to help me with a mission once, and it was like you guys came in with like all this gear, and I'm just like, it's like okay, yeah, it's like fairly early beginning mission. You guys are just like bulldozing everything, but this isn't really.
That was a super fun mission. Wiping the walls with everyone and everything.
Yeah, it was great for you guys. For me, it was just like, So it, but yeah, that was why I never got into GTA 5. I've watched a lot of different people's streams of it, or the guys over at Achievement Hunter did a whole series in GTA 5 of basically creating their own content in the multiplayer world and such. There's some really great videos and game types and things that they created throughout that. It's a pretty good series to actually watch if you just need background noise. So it's one of those things where it's like maybe I'd be interested in picking it up, but at this point I think I might wait and see what comes out with GTA 6, but we'll see. I also don't get a lot of time to game these days, so
yeah. For me, I wanted to mess around with the PC version of GTA 5 because there are mods available. Many mods available, but the specific mods are adding your own police cars with more realistic lighting, and then another mod to basically make you a police officer and go around and do, respond to calls, do traffic stops, various police related things, but within the game. And unfortunately, I haven't got to the point where I'm able to use the game and play those missions, more or less. I mean, they're not missions, they're, call outs, but I haven't got it to work yet. So, and I haven't had a whole lot of time either to try and mess with it and get it to that point where I can make it work. GTA 4, I was able to do that and had a bunch of different police cars, cool lighting, and all kinds of awesome stuff. Respond to calls, getting car chases all the time. That was always fun, but I haven't been able to make it work in GTA 5 yet. So, and it's only on the PC version, of course, because some people are like, well, I've got on Xbox, so can I get this mod? No, you can't, because it's an Xbox version. Well, I want it on Xbox. Well, go buy a PC, and then you can try and mod your game, because it will never be for Xbox. So there's that. Whatever. So I'm kind of excited, but at the same point, we are now in the third console generation that GTA 5 has been available for, because I purchased it for Xbox 360 back in the day and played through. So then it went through Xbox One and Xbox One or Xbox Series X and, PC iterations throughout this time. So how long will it actually take them to make this new game? Another 5 years when the interest is even lower in it? I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I don't know. I think that they found with GTA 5 a very successful formula of you don't really need much of a store or like a solo campaign story mode. But if you then have a multiplayer mode that you can keep releasing new content for all the time, people will play that. So you don't necessarily need to release it. Because that's the other thing. Yes, GTA 5 has been out for years, but at the same time, they have had pretty regular releases and updates and such of the online mode for all that time. Like, they still are putting out new stuff for it. New vehicles, new crazy gadgets, new this and that. I mean, there's a lot more to it now than when it first came out. So I think you're going to see a very similar pattern with GTA 6. I think you'll see a short story mode, and then most of it will be focused in on this online mode, because they made buckets of money in that online mode. It's
even
crazy.
with small expansions, right? I mean, that to me is what I enjoyed about Saints Row, and also Just Cause. So you have the game and you play through most of the story mode, and then by the time you've played through a good portion of the story mode, their first round of extra content comes out as the expansion for it. And then you wait another 2 to 4 weeks, and then the next part of it comes out. And I really enjoyed that because it keeps you coming back to the game. So I enjoyed that part, specifically of Just Cause. A lot of the expansion stuff for GTA 5, I never purchased or dealt with. I just played the storyline portion or the solo missions, and wasted quite a bit of time just messing around in the environment. So now another game that has been doing it quite well is Star Trek Online. They are now 12 years old and just celebrated their anniversary at the beginning of February. And the brand new featured episode from, as we're recording this, is a mirror universe continued story featuring Mirror Lita. Now, Lita in Deep Space Nine, of course, my favorite Star Trek series, started out as a Dabo girl in Quarks, watching the Dabo machine and running the Dabo machine, and then eventually gets involved with Ram's brother, Ram, or Quark's brother, Ram. If I misspoke there, my apologies. And then Ram, at the end of the series, becomes the Ferengi Grand Nagus, and Ram and Lita get married. So that's in the Prime universe. In the Mirror universe, Lita is a captain in the militia there, I guess you could call it. And she comes over to the Prime universe, and then you have some different missions with her where you meet her and you fight her, and she's doing this and that and whatnot. And then, of course, they tie in characters from Star Trek Discovery. Ensign Tilly from Discovery. In the Mirror universe is a captain, and they call her Captain Killy. Well, she's involved with storylines. And now, as of this new story, Kate Mulgrew returns to the role of Captain Catherine Janeway of the starship Voyager. And I think part of it is due to Kate Mulgrew lending her voice for the character to come alive again of Catherine Janeway for the show Star Trek Prodigy, which I have discussed on this show before. So in this specific mission, Kate Mulgrew lends her voice as Catherine Janeway once again. First of all, because this takes place after Voyager returned from the Delta Quadrant and after the events of Voyager and Star Trek Nemesis. So Captain Janeway has now been promoted to Admiral. So you meet with Admiral Janeway on USS Voyager and talk about the events of this attack on a research facility And then the big shock early on in the mission. In walks Mirror Universe Janeway. Yeah. It's a pretty good mission and a neat special event, especially with those three individuals I just mentioned. Again, Lita, Tilly, and Janeway having their original voice actors of Chase Masterson and Kate Mulgrew. And I apologize because I'm forgetting the voice actress and the actual actress who plays Ensign Tilly at this moment. But you get them in the game, voicing their characters really brings them to life and able to share that and advance the story. So very cool. Other than that, I'm really hoping that an NHL game comes out real soon that features your Colorado Avalanche, because that's really what I'm waiting for to purchase is a new next gen decent NHL hockey game that features Colorado Avalanche talent. So hopefully the rest of this year, the Avs win the Stanley Cup and then really make the video game developers at EA take note. We are number one. So on that note, I just want to throw out a big thanks to a coworker of mine, Josh. He has had some cards laying around. He's like, you know what? I have some Avalanche cards. Are you interested? I'm like, sure. And he's like, I'll bring them in. I'm like, what do you want from him? He's like, I just don't want them laying around anymore. So big thanks. First of all, these cards are some classic cards from the 95-96 season. So yes, the first year of your Colorado Avalanche being in existence since the Quebec Nordiques the year before. And the first card that I want to show is Landon Wilson. And this is a cool foil card, as you can sort of see with the lighting as I move it around. But the big thing of note from the information on the back, and of course you can easily read it. That's right. He was WCHA Rookie of the Year in the 94-95 season, playing at the University of North Dakota. Fighting Sioux. Yes, Landon, a Fighting Sioux alum. So that's a sweet card to have. And then the next card on the lineup here, Yanni Laakkonen, number 123 in this Upper Deck series. So there's the back of that card. And the interesting thing to note is, again, with the team, the team notes show some of the Nordiques stats from the year before. So that's, again, kind of interesting. And then the last one, Valerie Kamensky. And look at that, the orange NHL logo. That's the total 90s logo right there, isn't that there, Jake? Mm-hmm. Flipping around to the back here, you can see playing a few years in the NHL. And again, even though, not fancy foil cards or whatnot, getting a former Fighting Sioux player there, that's a real cool thing. So appreciate Josh for just giving me those cards there, and real cool to have another former Fighting Sioux player. So I'm going to put them in the old frames with some of our other Avalanche players who were Fighting Sioux players along the way.
Cool. Kidder, as I'm drinking this I Heart ND beer, one of the tasting notes on it is North Dakota. I'm not going to lie. Part of the taste I'm getting from this, did you ever do this as a kid? Like the old farmer thing, if like you grab the tall weed piece of grass and you put it in your teeth to imitate the farmers that you saw in the cartoons?
Yeah, kind of like the old buckwheat, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a taste I'm getting out of this. It's like that's what it's triggering in my mind, is like when I used to do that as a kid. Yeah, that kind of grassy taste.
I tried not to do it because whenever I was around, looked at, smelled, had a whiff of, or thought about any of those sorts of grassy notes, my allergies would decide to go absolutely berserk. And so I didn't want to die. So I didn't do it often.
Yeah.
But I rather enjoyed that I Heart ND. It's a good flavor.
It's not bad. It just, it has that. It's just the note I'm picking up out of it as I continue through this can. But hey, Kidder, speaking of the fact that like the outdoors is trying to kill you, it's probably a good thing you've never tried to go on a straight line mission. That's right.
Since we've been talking about this somewhat frequently on this show, and I always want to know the updates because I know you're absolutely obsessed with it. Just every waking moment, you're studying these videos, watching them, seeing where they go, what they're doing. And I got to thinking, man, that'd be interesting to do. How would we do a straight line across the county? Or because I don't want to waste time going across the state. That's just too much time. And then I'm like, that's the outdoors. That's a lot of grass. There's ticks, mosquitoes, there's water. That doesn't sound interesting to me. So we'll let these idiots do it for us and get arrested on their own behalf. So you have an update? Did you follow a new person, or is this somebody we're familiar with already?
This is somebody that we're familiar with. I started talking about him last time. This is a YouTuber by the name of Kyler Morgan, who has been working on crossing a county in his home state of Indiana.
Yes.
Yeah. I finished his series, and it was kind of interesting because I had kind of gotten through his series takes 4 videos for him to complete his challenge. And I had gotten about halfway through the 3rd video. And about that point, the gentleman who was traveling with him, or the friend who was traveling with him, had tapped out, which makes sense.
Another gentleman from Indiana.
Well, yeah, teenager, because these guys are teenagers. He dropped out, but he really wasn't prepared. It'd kind of be like a kidder, like if I know I'm not quite the wilderness hiker, but if you get the city slicker out there who's like, yeah, I'll do this with you, buddy. Let's do it, bro. And wears tennis shoes and like a tiny backpack and all of that, like just not prepared for trudging through the wilderness. So it made sense that he dropped out. I finished the series, and it was kind of an interesting ending, because he basically took a week off. He got so far. It took him longer than he thought. Took a week off and came back to finish, which is fine. I get it. And he was doing it alone. He was doing really well, but really at the end of the video, Kidder, he ended up going through a state park, and it was gorgeous. Some of the footage he captured was just beautiful and amazing. But he really kind of gave up on like the purity of the challenge with it. Ended up going way off the line quite a bit because he was getting tired. And the state park had a lot of really steep cliffs and things like that it just wasn't safe to go down. So I would say this. It's worth a watch. It's a very good video series. The end is some beautiful, beautiful scenery and such. You just kind of got to get past him kind of at the end. He kind of knows, like, I am not being pure, and I labeled my video as walking across the county in a perfectly straight line, and I did not do that, and I'm not even really doing the challenge, and I'm not like he kind of gives up on the challenge when he hits the state park. But the scenery is beautiful, and he does a nice job of filming it. So for that, it's worth a watch. I will also say, Kidder, to your comment about why it'd be miserable, these guys almost all do it in winter. Just so that there's less vegetation to push through and bugs and things like that. But even that brings its own challenges and such. I did start another one, Kidder, and I think you'll get a kick out of this. I did get past the opening because the guy's like, I've decided to walk across Delaware. It's all of 9 miles. I'm antisocial, so hopefully I don't run into anybody. But much like you, Kidder, he's like, well, actually, not quite like you, but there's a little bit of you in it. But he's like, I don't exercise much, so that could be a challenge. Also, I'm pretty much allergic to all of nature, so this might kill me. It's like, why the hell are you doing this?
Yeah.
It's like everything that this person like hates: exercise, the outdoors, possible interactions with angry people. Boy, I should go do a straight line challenge.
Yeah, it seems like a perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah. His starting point was in a cemetery, and I kid you not. It's like, he's like, well, my first thing is to jump over this chain link fence into this guy's backyard. Oh, he's standing there. I'm just going to have to pretend that I'm mourning whoever's on this gravestone until they go away. It's just like... Speaking of YouTube, Kidder, I got an update on a topic that we talked about a while ago.
Did the YouTube police find us?
No, they didn't. This is, of course, in reference to the scam of false copyright claims. And this one made the news, Kidder. This is a news story of it. There is a Minecraft YouTuber by the name of Dream. And Dream got really big with a couple of different series, but one of the series that he does is called Manhunt. And he's a speed runner normally. So a lot of his videos have been speed runs of Minecraft. But he started doing this where he tries to beat Minecraft while he has a friend try to hunt him down and stop him. And they've constantly added to the number. So it was him versus one person, then him versus 2 people, then him versus 3 people, him versus 4 people, him versus 5 has been the latest series. And usually they'll do a run, a rematch, and a finale. It's kind of been the trick. His last one is the 5-man Manhunt finale. Had over 28 million views on this. And somebody copyright claimed him on it. And it looks like he's heading towards a copyright strike, so he has chosen to delete this video off the platform after like 28 million views, because he needs to do that in order to talk to YouTube and get it reversed. But just an example of one of these much bigger, much more successful YouTubers basically being hit with one of these false copyright claims. So I just wanted to share that as an update, because I know we had just talked about it. It showed up in my news feed today as I was reading the news. So yeah,
it's just so stupid. I mean, the ease of somebody being able to claim something in your video that isn't your video, but you're able to claim it, and YouTube goes with it. Stupid. Like, what a joke in the terms of service. I mean, come on.
Right. Well, I mean, and how ridiculous. I mean, it's a shame, because YouTube videos take time, especially if you're going to make a good one. There's a lot that goes into the editing, but even a concept and an idea. You take something like Dream. Dream's been on there for a long time, and he's done a lot of things, and he hit success with this Manhunt series. And I have watched some of these, Kidder. Some of them, they're just kind of crazy fun to watch. It's a good in the background kind of thing. But like some of the things that he does within the game of Minecraft, you're just like, like, how did you like the little like glitchy like pro tip things that he can do that you're just like, I would never have thought of doing that. That's a game where if you build a tall tower and you fall off, you take fall damage, you die. But apparently if you drop a boat and click to land in the boat before you hit the ground, you survive. I would never have thought of that. It's just so like that's where it gets really interesting, is just to see his creativity and all these little tips and things that he knows. That's where that gets fun. But yeah, he comes to that length, to then get the people together to record it, to try and make it good, and then to edit it down to something that's watchable. And like all of that takes time and effort and such to build and grow, and to have somebody just go, well, that was successful. Mine, that's the frustrating part of it. And for him not to be able to just, and again, he's a big YouTuber. The fact that he can't just go, hey, YouTube, hi, it's me, Dream.
Mm-hmm.
This is clearly that's the crazy thing with that, and the fact that he has to delete the video before he can even really make an effort to. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame on things like that. But yeah, it's tough when you're in that creative field and having your stuff stolen. It's
yeah,
it's
annoying. Very annoying, because you're trying to make I mean, it's not like you're making millions of dollars off of YouTube with their 1 cent per view or less, but and we're not even at the monetization stage because we don't have enough subscribers. So at this point, if you would please click subscribe underneath the video and click the thumbs up. That'd be great too. That'll help us get in front of another 5 to 10 people. So, yeah, that'd be great. And once we hit 1,000 subscribers and like 10,000 watch hours of our content, then we can start being monetized.
Which is fine, because that's money we're just going to keep putting back into the show.
Yes, it'll keep this show going.
Kidder, I actually took a little break from editing the podcast last week.
What?
Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, I tend to edit the podcast in the evenings after my family goes to sleep. So that's when I do it. And I was a little burnt out. Like, well, I'll put it this way. For Kidder, like, this is the one time a week where we have this conversation. But some of our episodes, when they're 2 hours long, I spend almost every night of that week editing, which means I spend like every evening with Kidder for the week. And so sometimes I just need a break. I need a break from our own content and our conversations. And so Kidder, I had to laugh. I took a break and was like, you know what? I just want to watch something a bit mindless and such. And something that my wife's not going to be like, you're watching it without me. So I put on an old series that I had watched all the way through once before. And it's like, it's okay. I can put it on. I can just kind of chill and have it on. And that is Criminal Minds. And I had to laugh because I got about 4 or 5 episodes in. But I just saw here in the news that they are rebooting Criminal Minds. It's coming back. Yeah. Kidder is now disappointed for the audience because the camera's still on me. He's clearly disappointed. He hasn't been this disappointed since Lane didn't give him beer this week.
Yeah, it's been what, like an hour?
Yes. Kidder is He's heartbroken. Yeah, it looks like they're, and they call it a reboot. It's basically a continuation of the series. They're coming back, not necessarily doing a villain of the week. It sounds like they are doing one big overarching case for the story arc. They haven't said who all is returning. They just said, hey, anybody who was part of the BAU at the end of the series is a possibility of returning. So we'll see. It's going to be on, I believe, Paramount
Plus.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I watched the original Criminal Minds, which would be 16 or 17 years ago now, because the series Criminal Minds ran for 15 years and ended in 2020. And of course, with them rebooting it here in 22, that'd be like 17 years ago. So Mandy Patinkin was one of my favorite characters in this show. And then when he left the show, my interest in it went to zero and I stopped watching. But pulling up some quick information thanks to the interwebs, Criminal Minds will return likely in early 2023 on Paramount Plus. The plan is to feature a mix of the characters who remained in the original series there at the end of season 15, which was the end of the show, but mix in some fresh faces. So far, the subject basically to closing the deals with each of the actors and actresses there. The 6 cast members who were in the final finale there, yes, the final finale until now, were Joe Mantanga, who's played by David Rossi, Kirsten Vangsness.
Other way around.
Whatever. Okay.
David
Joe
Rossi's the
Manteiga,
character.
who played David Rossi. See, this is how far out of date I am. Thanks, Howard. Kirsten Vangsness, who played Penelope Garcia. AJ Cook, who played Jennifer Jarreau. Paget Brewster, who played Emily Prentice. Aisha Tyler, who played Dr. Tara Lewis. I did not know Aisha Tyler was on that show. Very interesting. And Adam Rodriguez, who played Luke Alves. Now, I thought Adam Rodriguez was on CSI Miami playing a different character, but not 100% sure with that. Matthew Gray Gubler played Dr. Spencer Reed, indicated earlier that he was done with the role. And Daniel Henney, who played Matt Simmons, stars in The Wheel of Time, which films in Prague, is MIA at the moment. And then the showrunner, Erica Messer, is still working on her deal with the reboot, which could fall apart without her return. Oh, no! So, could it happen? Sure. It might happen by the end of, this year into next year. Now, just reading this information on the show and then thinking about the CSI Vegas reboot, it's like a soft reboot of the CSI series. They, again, are back in Las Vegas, and when in the first series, which somewhat felt like a mini series, had William Peterson as Gil Grissom, and I cannot remember her name off the top of my head, who played Sarah Seidel. Those two characters were two of the essentially original CSI characters, and they were brought back in, which was great. Now, I wasn't completely a fan of what they did with the first season of this new CSI, but I watched it, and it still had the CSI vibes that I enjoyed, and I just watched it for entertainment. Season 2 of this CSI Vegas William Peterson will be an executive producer on the show, but Gil Grissom will not be in the show. And as a result, Sarah Seidel will not have that character. The character of Sarah Seidel will not be in season 2. So this show will probably be canceled at the end of or mid-season of season 2. The other stupid thing that we talked about before on this show is they did 10 episodes. That is not a season. That's a third of a season or half of a season. Like, come on, people. If you're going to do television, give people more. 10 episodes is not a season. This is absolutely stupid. I wish people in the places of television hierarchy would get that shit out of their heads that, well, we'll just give them this or for this amount of time. It's fine. No. 15 to 20 episodes are a season. Please and thank you. Stop screwing with us. There. That's that. Really, the only thing I think that I have is, I'm wearing the All-Star Jersey. Tomorrow officially is the All-Star Game. And tonight was the All-Star Skills Competition, which was very fun to watch this year. The All-Star Game and associated shenanigans are in Las Vegas. And for 2 of the competitions, the NHL, number 1, did a 21 in 22 is what they called it, where they had 5 players, one of which being your Colorado Avalanche's Nazem Kadri in the blackout game. And the NHL shut down Las Vegas Boulevard, yes, the strip in front of the Bellagio, and set up a stage with a giant board of every card from a standard 52 card deck. And then the skills competition was you get your puck and you have to shoot the card, right? So in your first shot, hopefully you shoot for a card like a face card or an ace, because then you either have a 10 or 11. And then on your second shot, obviously you want to get a face card or an ace for those that are available. And if there aren't any available, you're out. So it went through all 5 of them, and Nazem Kadri got a blackjack on the first round, along with Joe Thornton, I think is the other. He was actually the first one to get it. And then the second round, Kadri ended up missing his second shot, so he was out because he only had 8 and didn't have enough. And Freya's coming in to see what's happening here, so check out the little fuzzball in the corner of your screen right here. But it turns out Thornton ended up winning. But again, for that specific game, they shut down Las Vegas Boulevard, which is crazy, and set up this giant stage. And through the competition, they ended up taking out a couple of the lights because they're slap shotting these pucks up there, and you hear and you see the damn light flash from it getting busted out. Just who thought of putting lights behind there? Like, what did you think was going to happen? But the second part of it was this kind of a skills competition of being able to place the pucks within these different sized areas, 2 of which were set up and they looked like they were the size of face-off circles. And then there was a goal, so a net set up, and you had to make a goal shot. And then in front, there are 2 smaller circles, which were, I don't know, 2 or 3 size larger than the face-off dot. And they set these up in the middle of the Bellagio Lake where the fountains are. So in the background, the fountains are going off, and they put these projection, or I guess projectors, into the mist of the fountains, and they're bright enough so it shows the name of the person who's currently shooting, which was super cool. And then the fountains are shooting off as they're trying to shoot the pucks. It was really cool to watch. And on top of it, for this section, no Avalanche players were in that skills competition, but former Fighting Sioux women's hockey player Monique Lamoureux Davidson, and of course former Olympic gold medalist, yes, she competed against 5 other NHL players. It was awesome to see. So when she scored her shots and whatnot, she was second place, so she would have been able to go to the final round, and then the two of them face off. But unfortunately, there was another player who edged her out in the time, and so she was out of that competition. But later in the other skills competitions, she was feeding pucks to other players as they did the shootout challenge, where there's the 4 targets in the net. So it was cool to see her there and having that North Dakota connection to the All-Star game. But of course, as I mentioned, your Colorado Avalanche are at the NHL All-Star game, with McKinnon being out due to that facial fracture. Nazem Kadri is there, and Cale Makar ended up filling in. Cale Makar was voted in as well, and then another hockey player was brought in to replace McKinnon. So there would have been 3 Avs players there, but with McKinnon having that facial fracture, and again, hopefully he's, by the time this episode airs, I hope he's back, because Avs need him in the second half of the season here. But 2 Avs players, Cale Makar and Nazem Kadri, representing your Colorado Avalanche tonight, skills competition, and tomorrow at 2 o'clock Central Time. So now in the past when this airs, but NHL All-Star game. We'll see how it is. Hopefully it's a really good game.
Yeah. And with that, Kidder, we've been talking for quite a while. I think it's time we wrap this show up. We have.
Would you like some breaking wrestling news before we wrap this up?
You know, it wouldn't be the first time I made a transition and you decided to go off in a different direction.
Just stab.
Howard tries to stick to a straight line, and Kidder just goes all over the map.
Hey, wait. Left turn. It's like you driving the damn Warthog in Halo. So this is my revenge, eternally getting revenge on you. You and your damn driving skills. Like, I'm bored with this. Off a cliff. So it is official that Tony Khan from AEW will have an announcement, and apparently did have an announcement. Either way, they will have a new free agent signing with AEW this coming Wednesday. So now, a week and a half in the past. And they will debut on AEW Dynamite in a qualifier for the Face of the Revolution ladder match versus Isaiah Cassidy. The Face of the Revolution pay-per-view is the next pay-per-view on the docket for them. And then the winner competing of that match will compete for a TNT title shot at AEW Revolution on pay-per-view there. So there's that. And according to Tony Khan on Twitter, the forbidden door can be opened for anyone from any wrestling promotion in the world, whether or not it's a company AEW is on good terms with, even if it's someone from a company that's open for business. They're also welcome to slam the door in the face of their prior company. Very interesting. Will it be interesting? We'll just have to find out. So with that, I suppose we've been talking for a little bit of time here this evening. So thanks for joining us for this episode of Beer, Blues, and BS. Couple quick plugs for you. The main one is go to beerbluesbs.com. Beerbluesbs.com. That is our website. Again, beerbluesbs.com. While you're there, join us on Facebook, join us on YouTube, join us on Spotify, and make sure you visit the merch store. You can click the merch text right at the top of the menu and visit the merch store. Buy yourself a premium t-shirt or very much interesting other piece of merchandise available for you. You can also buy us a beer. And thanks to all the people who have purchased beers for us or rounds for us on the website, beerbluesbs.com. Many things to do, many things to see at beerbluesbs.com, including getting links to our Podbean account, which is the host of all of our audio accounts. Yes, the audio version goes from Podbean to all of the following, including Google Podcasts, like Google Play. Yes, you can find the Google Podcasts on the Google Play Store. And the Apple Podcasts, which is available on iTunes and the Apple iOS Store. And then on any device, you can find Spotify, where you can listen to the Beer, Blues, and BS podcast right there. Also available on iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, IMDb, and Player FM. All that and much more available in your favorite audio listening service. BeerBluesandBS.com for that. And of course, search Beer, Blues, and BS on that favorite service that you might have. So for Howard Blues, thank you for joining us. I'm the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Kidder. We'll catch you on again in the next episode of Beer, Blues, and BS. So in the meantime, keep your glass at least half full. On top of that, there's free beer tomorrow, and we will catch you on down that dusty Tuscon highway. So have a good one, and we'll see you on the next episode of Beer, Blues, and BS.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty. UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain.
We're really chatty tonight. This either bodes well or terrible.
I'm sure it'll be fine. 2 hours, 2.5 hours of silence. I'm sure our podcast listening or viewing friends need that by now.
Actually, Kidder, the last 2 episodes have just barely cleared like a minute 45. Actually, the last one, tonight's episode.
A minute 45? How are we on the air?
Sorry, an hour 45.
No.
Like, we've been short. Like, I kid you not, in tonight's episode, we hit the 1 hour 36 mark, and I go, well, Kidder, we've been talking for quite a while, and you're like, only 2 hours? It's like, we still got like half an hour before 2 hours. So,
well, I'm sure for those people listening or watching, it felt like way more than 2 hours at that point.
Let's face it, you haven't been in the best mood the last few weeks, so I'm hoping tonight's a little bit better.
I doubt it.
Oh,
you know why? Because the Avalanche lost this week.
It's okay, Kidder. That doesn't have to ruin your whole week.
It did. It did.
Gotta let it go, man. I'm starting to worry about you.
Can't.
This is why you're all in
gonna get
black?
gray hairs, but you already have them.
Yes. Yes. I was gonna say, is this why you're all in black? Are you in mourning? I have to worry about you going through like the 8 stages of grief, 10 stages of grief?
Sure.
Grief further.